The legendary sword Durandal appears in the Song of Roland. There was once a horse named after this sacred sword. His incredible finishing speed was so remarkable that he, along with his name, was compared to the sword itself. In this video, we'll take a look back at his racing career. Before we begin, let's start with some Japanese snacks. Durandal was born in 1999. His sire is Sunday Silence. His dam is Sayaka Princess, and his dam sire is Northern Taste. Sayaka Princess herself, as well as Durandal's siblings, excelled in short-distance races. Sunday Silence and Northern Taste were both influential stallions who defined an era. Consequently, there are many exceptional mares by Northern Taste that are regarded as elite, but none of their offspring sired by Sunday Silence had yet won a Grade 1 race. Notable examples include mares like Dinah Actress, Adorable, Dinah Carl, and the mares from the Scarlet family, all of which produced offspring by Sunday Silence. However, these offspring have not achieved a level of success that could be considered remarkable. Durandal made his debut in December 2001 on the Hanshin course, running 1,200 meters on turf. He was slightly slow out of the gate. However, he gradually improved his position as he chased the pack. At the entrance to the final stretch, he was already within 5 lengths of the leader. He extended his finishing kick from the outside and effortlessly passed the horses in front to cross the finish line in first place. The margin between him and the second-place horse was about 1 length, but it was an impressive race. However, he entered a long-term rest period due to the risk of developing a bone spavin. It wasn't until August 2002, about 8 months later, that he returned to the track. In his comeback race, he made a late charge from the back in the final stretch but finished in second place. However, from that point on, he used his sharp finishing kick to win 3 consecutive races, quickly rising to the open class. Let's take a look at the finish line footage from those 3 consecutive wins in order. On a 3-race winning streak, Durandal challenged for its first Grade 1 race. That was the Mile Championship in 2002. He unleashed the fastest finishing kick among the members in the final stretch. However, since he was making a late charge from the back, he couldn't catch up to the leaders and finished in 10th place. He finished 4th in the December Stakes, which he participated in a month later. Then, in the New Year Stakes at the start of the new year, he charged from the back and won, achieving his first victory in the open class. He aimed for his first graded race victory in the Grade 2 Nakayama Kinen in March, but perhaps due to the longer distance, he finished in a disappointing 9th place. Then, after this, he took a break for about 6 months. Durandal's comeback race was the Grade 3 Centaur Stakes in September. Here, he faced the reigning queen of sprinters, Believe. Durandal trailed in the rear as usual. In the final straight, he made a fierce charge but could only manage to finish in third place. He was unable to catch Believe. After this race, he appeared in the Sprinters Stakes. In fact, the trainer had planned a different race, but it seems he decided to enter the Sprinters Stakes based on the advice of Ek Zoe, who rode him for the first time in the Centaur Stakes. And this was also the retirement race for the Queen, Believe. Durandal trailed in the rear as usual. As they entered the final straight, Believe used her characteristic speed to comfortably take the lead. It seemed she would end her career in victory. However, there was one horse surging down the outside. It was Durandal. On the inside was Believe, and on the outside was Durandal. Though they were far apart, they crossed the finish line side by side. It was a close race, but Ek Zoe's left hand rose in victory. Durandal had won by a narrow margin. This was not only his first graded race victory but also his first Grade 1 triumph. This is the first Grade 1 race victory by a foal produced from the pairing of a Northern Taste mare and Sunday Silence. Durandal, who won the Sprinters Stakes, also competed in the Mile Championship. However, perhaps because his victory in the Sprinters Stakes was considered a fluke, he was only the fifth favorite. One reason might have been that he had finished in 10th place the previous year. When the race started, Durandal held back at the rear as usual. He gradually moved up in position, but even as they entered the final stretch, he appeared to be more than 10 lengths behind the leading horse. At this point, his engine ignited. Even with 200 meters remaining, the gap between him and the leading horses was still large, but he pushed hard along the outside. He managed to take the lead just before the finish line. The Holy Sword cleaved everything in two with a single strike. This victory marked Durandal's second Grade 1 win. And due to this success, Durandal was chosen as the best sprinter of the year. He joined the ranks of legendary horses. However, the following year, Durandal suffered a hoof crack. As a result, he couldn't participate in races as planned, and ended up competing in the Grade 1 Takamatsu no Miyakinen in March after a 4-month break with no prior prep races. It was also his first time racing on a left-handed track, which raised some concerns. However, he was the race favorite, and the race began. Entering the final stretch, Durandal made his move, as usual, charging from the outside. The second favorite, Sunningdale, surged ahead just before the finish line. Durandal also closed well, but fell short by a neck and finished second. After this, he aimed for the Yasuda Kinen, but a month before the race, he suffered a hoof crack and had to withdraw from participation. He returned to the racetrack 6 months later. It was the Sprinters Stakes on October 3rd. On that day, the track was in poor condition due to rain, which was considered disadvantageous for closers. The previous year's champion, Durandal, made a late charge down the final stretch just as he had the year before. However, this year, Calstone Lighto led the race with a brisk pace and crossed the finish line with a significant lead. Although Durandal was left far behind, he managed to hold on to second place. He went on to compete in the Mile Championship as well. He was the obvious favorite. In his usual racing style, he accelerated rapidly as he entered the final stretch, overtaking the front runners. He also left behind the horses that had been chasing him. It was a complete victory. It is a consecutive victory in the Mile Championship. He competed in the Hong Kong Mile at the end of the year as a representative of Japan. Unfortunately, he finished in 5th place. The watering of the track was also unfortunate for him, as he is a horse that excels at coming from behind. After returning to Japan, he was chosen as the best sprinter for the second consecutive year. He would continue racing the following year as well. However, Durandal developed laminitis. Laminitis is one of the most serious diseases for racehorses, often leading to euthanasia when treatment is unsuccessful. It seemed that his racing career was over, but the treatment was successful, and he made a comeback in the Sprinters Stakes in October 2005. Durandal was the second favorite. The top favorite was Hong Kong's strongest horse, Silent Witness. Durandal raced in his usual style, closing in during the final stretch. Silent Witness had already taken the lead halfway down the stretch. Durandal overtook all the other horses, but he couldn't catch Silent Witness and finished in second place. It was a brilliant come-from-behind effort, showing little sign of the illness's effects. After this, he went on to compete in the Mile Championship for the fourth consecutive year. A victory here would make him the first horse in JRA history to win the same Grade 1 race 3 times in a row. He came from behind, closing in with the fastest finishing kick among the competitors. However, he finished in 8th place. Despite finishing 8th, he was only 0.4 seconds behind the winning horse. After this, due to his poor hoof condition, it was decided that this race would be his last, and he would retire. Including races abroad, his career record stands at 8 wins out of 18 starts. Of those, he won 3 Grade 1 races. Durandal began his stallion career in 2006. In 2009, Jewel of Nile won the Kokura 2-year-old stakes, marking Durandal's first grade race victory as a sire. He has sired many offspring, with successful horses not only in turf sprints but also in middle distance and dirt races. He has also produced winners in major jump races. In 2011, Erin Court won the 2,400-meter Oaks, gifting her sire Durandal his first Grade 1 title. In this way, his offspring were performing well, but he was found dead in his stall on July 7, 2013. The cause of death was reported to be a heart attack. He was 14 years old at the time of his passing. There are no successor stallions, and the situation for his bloodline is desperate. However, as a broodmare sire, he has produced horses like Blow the Horn, who won the 2024 Takarazu Kakinen, and I still have high hopes for his success as a broodmare sire. That's all for this time. If you want to know more about Japanese horses, subscribe to this channel. Thank you.